Wrong track. Gang hang. Good morning, all. How we doing?
Hey, hi.
Hey, hi. My name's Matt Baum. I'm one of the hosts of the Two-Headed Nerd comic book podcast. You may have heard of it if you're listening to this. And virtually next to me is head number 2. Say hi, Joe.
Hi, I'm the internet's Joe Patrick.
God, you never do the hi, Joe thing. You never do it. Every time.
That's because it's not funny.
I'm
you only
hoping it's going to happen.
It's funny, but it's not that funny.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
Yeah, classic. Yes, sure.
Got my closet wide open so you guys can see my laundry and stuff. That's fun. All right. All kinds of stuff to talk about in a gang hang today. I posted.
Yeah, we can see your dirty drawers.
I posted some things that we can get into. We don't need to spoil the end of the Penguin if you haven't watched it yet, but the Penguin did end, and I would argue it was outstanding. I don't know if anybody's watching
Penguin
this.
The Penguin series is better than the Batman movie.
Oh my God. It is outstanding.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a hot take or not.
No, it's not a hot take, Joe. It's
100%.
I think the Penguin as a piece of media is better than the Bat. Now, it's apples and oranges. The Penguin had
I would argue it's
8, 9, 10, hours to make its case, but holy shit, man.
I would argue they're doing a different thing, and I like it for different reasons, but good God, that last episode was just like the worst family therapy you've ever watched on film.
I'm slowly watching it because the episodes are not binge worthy because they are so heavy that you need
long,
to take
but they're also
they're all very long. It feels like 2 hours each episode.
Binging HBO shows is a chore because there are no commercial breaks.
Well,
right.
The other side of it is
so
it's not something that I would recommend binging. Like I would watch one episode and be like, okay, I feel sufficiently bad. I'll be back next week.
It's like binging Breaking Bad. Just don't do it for the sake of your own mental health.
Right.
Yeah.
Brian, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
We could just kind of back off spoilers.
Yeah.
For sure.
No spoilers. The major complaint that I saw on the internet was that Batman didn't show up. I'm like, you guys.
I mean, I posted that article.
The internet's dumb.
The internet is dumb.
I mean, look, it would have made sense. It could have made sense, but
we don't need it.
I posted that article and I made a joke about, the reason being money, right? But the article said, we talked about it and we wrote a couple of versions where he shows up or even he just makes a cameo. But in the end, nothing felt earned.
Yeah.
And so we didn't do it. And I respect that.
It's Oswald's story, too.
Batman is concerned with street-level crime. Like, there's no reason why he wouldn't have been involved in some of that, especially considering the events of some of the later episodes.
But I think you can assume that, sure, maybe he's out there doing stuff, but this is Oswald's story, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. I'm not saying I wanted him. Yeah. I'm saying, like, I get the impulse, but I also very much respect the showrunner saying, hey, you know what? It didn't make any sense.
No.
It didn't make sense to do it, and so we didn't want to do it.
And I think if the Batman does show up, he outshines the Penguin. He instantly. You got like a bigger star.
Especially a movie star, right? I mean, I think it's also like, why would Batman be in every Catwoman story?
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right.
Like the expectation, and part of it is the rabid, live action media fan base, which is just wait a
minute, Brian. Are you saying that just because Asgard's floating in the sky above your city, that doesn't mean Thor has to show up in every comic
That's
book?
not what we're saying at all, and I don't know why you constantly reach for that.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what we're saying.
I'm going to mute you, Brian. Go for it. No, I think
they want everything all the time. They want the X-Men and every episode of Agatha. They want the Fantastic Four.
Yes,
when they don't realize that's not how things work. And that's like what my fear is with the continuing expansion of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like they just want to see the character on screen.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how they get there. Like they just want it. And it's like that doesn't buy a pinup comic.
Right.
Go get a,
Marvel swimsuit specials in the 90s. It's got all the characters.
There's no story. There's no plot. There's no themes. It's just this guy standing next to this guy. And I think that's what most of them want. Like, they're not about the story. They loved Endgame because it's everybody on screen at the same time. Like, they love when, like, those cheers in the crowd. It's like, I want a movie theater to be silent. Like, be quiet. I don't need I don't want that. I want you guys enjoy it silently because I'm enjoying it silently. But just having everyone, it's like they're all here. It's like, okay.
I'm gonna disagree with you about that because Endgame,
I know.
Best cinematic experience of my life.
No, okay. Scott Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
Scott Snyder's Justice League is a perfect example of here is my extended cut has everything in it, and it doesn't matter if it makes sense, and it doesn't matter if there's a story. It's just like Deathstroke's here, and the Martian Manhunter shows up to be like, I've been here the whole time. Sorry, I didn't fucking do anything, but whatever, you know. That's what they want.
Yeah, there's a mention of Green Lanterns and they helpfully just don't come to Earth when Darkseid shows up.
Sure.
Like when if Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan are not in the Superman movie next summer, people are going to be like, "Oh, what a ripoff! James Gunn doesn't know what he's doing." It's like you don't. It's that Bull Burnham, like everything all the time. Like they want everything all the time.
Yeah.
They want
it's if the majority of not the majority. Let me back up. The loudest people on the internet are Patton Oswalt's character from Parks and Recreation.
Well, they might be the majority if we look at the election. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, good point. Yeah, good point.
We may be in the minority.
Yeah, that's true. But no, I mean, you're absolutely right, Brian. And it's.
I would cry foul if this show was called Alfred. If this show was called Alfred and you had Alfred in the mansion for 8 episodes doing stuff and even talking about Bruce Wayne and Batman and shit with Batman, like, yes, that would not make sense. That would be dumb.
But
this is not, this is a totally different character story. Not that I'm not agreeing, but
there were several seasons of a show called Pennyworth.
No, but I'm talking about if it took place in real time, not in the past.
No, I know. But you know what that show never ever needed? Young Alfred meeting the Waynes.
No.
And I didn't see all of Pennyworth, but I'm pretty sure the Waynes show up.
Probably.
I think I've only seen like 3 episodes. I think Thomas is in the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thomas is there from
he was there.
Day one. Yeah.
That's a show where it's like, oh man, what did I watch? 3 seasons? 4 episodes.
Doesn't
4
he
episodes on HBO? It's like, yeesh.
Don't we learn like Alfred introduced Thomas to Martha in that show or something like that, and so he like made Batman basically? It was something along those lines.
I didn't watch far enough for that.
To go back to Brian's point about people wanting everything all the time, I think it's also just a sense of comfort through familiarity.
Yeah.
Right. It's like people just want to see things they've seen before, and I think that.
Yeah,
was no more apparent than in last night's, I'm going to use air quotes here, boxing match.
Oh God,
there's no reason those 2 people should be fighting.
No,
it's just that I recognize him and I recognize him.
Yep,
and that's it. And like that, I think that is the metaphor for culture and American society at large.
Yes.
Right? Like it's just I recognize that fucking guy. He's got my money or my vote or whatever.
Right.
And that's it.
And America is dumb enough to be optimistic enough to think that a 58-year-old man is going to beat a 27-year-old kid in the prime of his life. And
it's also just ridiculous. It's also just ridiculous to be like, I want to see. It's like the whole thing is just like it's like a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's just like I want to see the old guy who was in jail for rape beating up the guy who like offended 1 million people in Japan. It's just like, what the fuck even is this?
Yeah.
It's like, are there any fighters or athletes or like MMA fighters that are just that and nothing else? It doesn't exist anymore. Like even Conor McGregor has become a fucking meme, and it's just sorry for the rant, but it's just emblematic of everything, like in culture and everything else. Don't give me a superhero movie unless there's a guy I've seen 15 times before in it.
Right. And I don't care how he got there, and I don't care as long as he's badass and he kills somebody. I'm in, Like, okay. But back to the Penguin. It was absolutely outstanding. And I think they are demonstrating that, like, look, the problem with the Snyder stuff was not that the themes are too dark. And I don't want these dark things. Like, this is
it's that the movie was physically too dark.
Bad. Well, the movie was visibly,
visually too dark.
But there was also no story. The story was terrible. The story of the Penguin should be awful. It should be gut-wrenching. Oswald Cobblepot is not the person he is because he had a great family life and he went to an accelerated education school or something.
And
for
he's
smart
certainly
kids.
not the hero.
Yeah,
He's certainly not a hero.
yeah, but I loved it. Loved it, and I'm ready for more. And there's all these theories that the guy that's like Sophia's boyfriend is the Scarecrow. What do we think about that? The psychologist guy.
I mean, maybe. I mean, he gave it doesn't really mean anything. Like his name is Julian Rush. Is the character name that we're given.
Right.
And that might be bullshit. It might not be. I don't know. I think. At this point in his career as a doctor, why would he be operating under a different name? Like, I don't know. Like, anything's possible, and I'm all for it.
Anything is possible.
But I also read a thing where it's like, yeah, and then at one point, if you look real close, you might see. Right. If you are
no, there's like a mask. There's supposedly a mask on his desk.
But also his like syringe fingered glove, which he only wears in the Arkham video games, by the way, not in the comics.
Right.
So
yeah. So shut up.
But I didn't see any of that shit. So,
well, there is a
you
still.
can see straw sticking out from the edge of his jacket a couple times. Yeah.
There is a still that somebody isolated. I'm looking for it. Some guy in Reddit posted it. I can't find it now, of course. But like it does look like there's a shot of his desk and what could be a Scarecrow. Oh, here it is. What could be a Scarecrow mask is there. And
sure.
I mean, it could be, I suppose. And the glove thing
could be a Scarecrow
is definitely there too. Yeah. I mean, like there's definitely something weird on the desk there. I'll say that. And you know what? I really like this actor. If they decide to go Scarecrow direction with him, fine. I'm into it, but I also, like Brian was saying, I don't need.
You know what? That is a glove with syringes in it.
It looks like it, right? I also don't need everything to lead to everything, you know, and everything to be connected.
Right? Yes, exactly.
Then we end up in
it's the Gotham problem, right?
Right.
That was the name of the show.
Yes, the Gotham problem.
Yeah.
Then we end
up in that picture. Is that a pencil? You see the drawing on the wall in the frame. Mm-hmm. That looks like a Tim Sale drawing.
Oh, let me blow. Computer enhance.
I'm squinting pretty good, but
yeah, I don't know. Like I can't tell.
You know what I mean?
I'm zoomed way in, and I still can't tell.
Like Alberto's.
It's kind of impossible to make out when you enlarge.
Yeah,
so I don't
I'm zoomed way in. I can't tell.
He does the negative space like glasses sometimes, where it's like the glare is white.
Yeah. Are you talking about straight ahead above the lamp?
Yeah. The white picture in the frame.
The white one, yeah. The tiny one, yeah.
Impossible to tell.
I can't make it out, I'm afraid. Too bad. I wish. That would be nice if it was. That would be like a nice little nod.
But like, okay, so I just said, like, I don't need everything to lead into everything, but I also don't have a problem with, like, okay, sure.
Hold on a second,
character comes
Somebody
from.
was trying to talk.
Oh, sorry, that was me. I was saying, while I didn't expect Batman to show up, I did think there was going to be a little bit of a Gotham supernatural thing happening when the mushrooms got exposed to the chemicals.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like a whole new, like,
all right,
mushrooms will be fine.
Okay, we have to stop because Brian is not so we have to like pump
we're not doing spoilers.
All right, so yeah,
all right, we're getting a little excited. So, but No. It's fine, Brian. The finale just aired like this week, so you're good, man.
And Gorilla Grodd showing up isn't even the biggest thing that happens, Brian. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Listen,
I'll tell you,
Doom Patrol was just a charming delight.
He was wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's so bitchy, and he's got a moment where he does like a.
Oh wait a minute, was that Grodd or was it?
Or was it Grodd or Monsieur Mallah?
It was Monsieur Mallah. Yeah, it was Monsieur Mallah.
Yeah. Guys, don't.
You know what? I'm always in favor of Monsieur Mallah showing up. So.
He's my favorite. That's why I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I'll tell you this though. I was also kind of the mind like there's something about this psychiatrist that's weird. And not what it seems. And I kept waiting for them. I was like, is this Hugo Strange? You know, that would make more sense to me than Scarecrow.
But he doesn't wear the glasses.
Well, sure, he doesn't look like Hugo Strange, but he also doesn't, he also doesn't carry a scythe and wear a straw hat. Whatever.
No, I mean, I agree, but I do think the Scarecrow's a much bigger character that you introduced.
No, you're right, but I mean, we're talking about a show about the Penguin, so
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we're too concerned about who is a big character.
I mean, the Penguin's a pretty big bat villain. I mean, come on.
I think that if HBO wanted to put some storytelling muscle behind any character, they would become a big character.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, they've already said they're going to do more of this in this Batman universe. What is it? The Batman crime universe, or what are they calling it? The Batman crime saga.
The Batman
crime saga.
Yeah, Batman crime universe, something
it's
like that.
The Batman Gotham crime saga or something.
Yeah,
like that.
right. Yeah, exactly. It's real dumb. I don't know if it was you, Joe, or if it. Oh no, it was Jason Farrell. He said when you were posting the poll about the Red Hulk, Matt, he's like, I am old and cranky enough that I get annoyed that they try to make everything into a verse.
Yeah, no, and I agree.
Stop making it a verse.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Not everything has to be a verse. Some things can just be a story in a place.
The Batman is the Matt Reeves Batman is one thing.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't need to be like, no.
Let's okay.
I have a theory about that. I think it's not Matt Reeves being like, this is the Batman crime-averse. I think it's more.
Oh no, it's WB.
But I think they think if we don't brand this the way we want it to, like into a thing we're comfortable dealing with,
right?
Like Screen Crush is going to call it the dumbest fucking thing.
They're going to brand it for us. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so we're going to call it, just consider it this and that, and then because everyone needs, well, where does this fit and what is this thing? And so they kind of label it they're getting ahead of like the dictionary of the need to call something. And so it's dumb, but.
Right.
It's like filing a patent or something or a copyright before you have anything done, just so that you can secure the name and nobody else fucks it up for you.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh man, that poster is very cool.
Fucking dope. Frank just dropped it was a fan.
It's a fan poster. Wow.
And it's like a skeleton.
Not sure what it has to do with the Batman movie, but it's cool looking.
I don't know. It's really cool.
That is dope. Okay, you brought it up, Joe. Let's talk Red Hulk for a minute. I
want to get away from the Batman because the more we talk about it, the more I want to talk about things that are very specific, and we can't do that.
But the Penguin, watch it. Excellent. We loved it. We've got Brave New World is coming with Captain America versus the Red Hulk. So Marvel, of course. It's not even a question of like, do you want it? Do we need it? You're going to get it.
It's not if, Matt, it's when.
Yeah, you're going to get it. Marvel is going to put the Red Hulk on a spoon and feed it to you. And so we're getting a Red Hulk comic. So we did a very scientific poll. Let's just check our final answers here. Your choices were Red Hulk. Hell yeah, give me more. Or only one Hulk, only ever going to be one Hulk. And then Lord Steven, Master of Coin, came up with the third option that I very much like. I am fine with the concept of more Hulks. I just do not give the slightest fuck about the Red Hulk. So I'm going to say the winner is technically only one Hulk, only ever going to be one Hulk, because I'm counting Steven's votes towards that too. But there's still a lot of people who are like, fuck yeah, give me some Red Hulk. Let's do it. I'm in. Ben Percy's going to write it. Ben Percy wrote some really good Ghost Rider stuff.
Yeah. Jeff Shaw, who
Jeff Shaw's very good. Yeah. I mean, they're putting, I think if they were dropping this and it was like, Alex Segura brings you Red Hulk, we could all just go,
yeah.
Oh, neat.
You know what? And I hate to badmouth anybody, but when I made my pick of the week this week, and like I love the question so much, and so I picked the question. And then I got to talk about the creative team, and it was Alex Segura and an artist that I barely know. I was like, I'm excited. I'm excited for the character. But you're absolutely right. If Marvel had just shat out this comic, then we'd be having a different conversation. But this is some pretty
I don't mean to call out Alex
muscle.
Segura. Alex Segura has done some perfectly good stuff.
It's okay, but I mean, it's true. He doesn't have that cachet. He's not.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody is like, ooh, I can't wait for the next Alex Segura.
That's what I'm saying. Do we care?
He's not there yet.
So you guys, you know how we think. Do we care about the Red Hulk returning in the And they're saying, look, this is going to be part of the Doom story and everything. I mean, it's Thunderbolt Ross, I guess.
It's a no.
Yeah, right? I just don't care. I don't care. And like, I'm fine with it in the movie. Sure. Do it. Because it makes sense in the movie. There was a Hulk in the world. They want a piece of that. Great. I still don't think it's Harrison Ford. I still think it's someone else.
You see Harrison Ford transform into the Red Hulk in the trailer.
Oh, no, that's right. They did show us that. I forgot.
It looks like they stuck Harrison Ford's head on the Red Hulk body, which I think...
Like, it looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
It should have made him look more like kind of like his face. They should have made his face wider there, made him look more like... When you look at was it the Ed McGuinness Red Hulk?
Yeah.
And you know, he looked just like the Green Hulk. Almost exactly with like the really wide set jawline. And sorry, I'm recovering from a cold, so my voice is a little gravelly.
You're all right.
I just thought you sounded super chill.
Yeah, it's like NPR today.
Yeah.
They made him look more muscular. Like they take Mark Ruffalo's face and they make it wider.
Yeah,
you know?
I totally agree. Like Ruffalo, it looks
made.
like you put a pump in him and you inflated Mark Ruffalo. Like I get it. Yeah.
They didn't.
The thing is that the Hulk should never be handsome, right? I don't think.
I mean,
No.
And no. The answer is no. He's a monster.
Peter David's good-looking Hulk. You don't like Peter David's smart Hulk. You're going to sit here and say that was crap. I don't like.
No. I'm not saying that, Matt. I'm saying I think the Hulk, like we talked about. Oh gosh, what was it? That version of the Hulk.
God damn it, Stern.
Is,
Mike Tyson's butt making an appearance in the chat.
yeah. I saw a joke online that was like, Netflix has been buffering for 45 minutes on this shot. And it's we posted something about the Hulk and a drawing of the Hulk. And I mentioned how he looks like Alex Ross paints the Hulk, where he's got the huge brow and all that stuff. And this is a conversation you and I, Matt, had within the last week or two.
Yeah.
And
this was our crossover thing that we did twice. But yeah.
Yes, the Steve Rude Hulk. The Steve Rude Hulk. Yes.
He draws him very Silver Age, heavy brow, monster.
Yeah.
Hulk,
I don't think the Hulk should be in my mind, I don't think the Hulk would be like a good looking dude.
No,
right?
I like a more monstrous
And when
Hulk
Harrison Ford shows up as the Red Hulk in that trailer, it's like, oh shit, the Red Hulk is hot. And it's like, I don't need that. I don't want that.
Yeah, but the studio,
the Golden Bachelor right there.
The studio is paying for Harrison Ford, so they're going to get as much Harrison Ford out of Harrison Ford that they can Harrison Ford. And that includes making sure you know that's a big red Harrison Ford.
Like in the Avengers movie, like the Mark Ruffalo Hulk, like Frank said, he's
still Ruffalo. No question.
He's recognizable, but he's also like, there's something inhuman about his features. I don't just mean the big greenness of him. I mean, like, he doesn't look right. He doesn't look like a normal man.
I still think he looks very Ruffalo.
He's recognizable as Ruffalo. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying they do enough to make him monstrous. The Red Hulk in this trailer just looks like if you painted a bodybuilding version of Harrison Ford red, then yeah.
But there's
that's
also
exactly like.
Sorry, Frank, go ahead.
I said, yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. It looked like, jacked up Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And, listen, Harrison Ford has been roguishly handsome since Star Wars. So, you can't argue that. So it's like, yeah, he should have been more monstrous looking. He should have had more of that heavier brow and that wider jawline.
Well, okay.
But I mean,
there is also something to be said about Hulk storytelling where we see the Hulk in a certain rage and that is Monster Hulk. You can't talk to that Hulk. Something happened to that Hulk and he's out of control. He is a monster. And then there's times where Hulk is way more human looking and is very smart and is drawn like a good-looking dude with a ponytail. That is
the madder Hulk gets, the uglier. Hulk gets.
I'm just saying, like, based on what has happened to Hulk in whatever storyline, sometimes he is that caveman-looking monster.
Oh, sure, right. Like Smart Hulk looked more like Banner.
Right, and the more human he looked, and maybe
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair. Your no prize is in the mail.
I think maybe in this movie, what we're gonna get is not a roaring, dumb Red Hulk, but a smart President Red Hulk. You know, who like still carries on a conversation like Harrison Ford, right?
He literally roars at the camera, but yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, but so does Ruffalo, but he can speak normally
comics,
too.
How Red Hood got his? Is it the same gamma exposure? Like, is it the same thing, or does he have a different origin? Because his powers are different.
He's got a different origin in the comics. He was turned into the Red Hulk by the Intelligentsia, which is like the mad scientist version of the Illuminati. So it's like the wizard, the mad thinker, the leader, etc. The MODOK.
Was that Greg Pak
and
writing that?
Yeah, Greg Pak. Yes. Okay. And I'm sorry. Please, can somebody please fill the chat up with stuff, because it's just Mike Tyson's ass over and over. But in this trailer, it looks very much like a Manchurian Candidate situation, where there are hints that something has been done to Ross, and he's a secret weapon that they have triggered. Like, he's not in control. In the comics, Thunderbolt Ross was like, yeah, make me the Hulk. This makes it look like Harrison Ford is an unwilling participant in this exercise. So I don't think he's going to be intelligent. Maybe at the end.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
But when he shows up, I think he's going to be a rage monster that somebody is controlling with a remote somewhere.
See, secretly becoming Red Hulk. Captain America, yeah, it was Yep, it was Greg Pak.
I just told you it was Greg Pak.
Yeah, I was just trying to look for the actual issue. I couldn't remember which ones it was. Because that was a really great run. And I thought the idea initially when they did it, kind of fun. It was fun. We're like, all right.
I don't remember where the Red Hulk first appeared. Was it Hulk #1?
It was a Hulk issue.
Let's see.
Or was it an issue of Incredible Hulk?
It was an issue of Incredible Hulk. I'm trying to remember. I remember getting it.
It was King Size Hulk #1.
It was like a split down the middle.
Yeah, Jeff Loeb, Arthur Adams.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
King Size.
Oh, right. Jeff Loeb wrote the Red Hulk series.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Fun.
Then he punches the Watcher in the first issue.
Sure. You know.
Like you did.
Sorry. That was my bad.
Todd Mosaic makes a good point. Like the Eric Bana Hulk, the madder he got, like the more Hulkish he got.
Yeah, he freaked out.
Like he grew, like his and he points out loving the 70s spy movie vibe, which is exactly what you want from a Captain America movie, I think.
Sure.
He said, are they doing more reshoots? Is this true? I don't know, but reshoots are common. And every time some website reports on a movie having to go in for reshoots, people freak out. But reshoots are very, very common.
And it wouldn't surprise me if there are reshoots. It's some stinger at the end of the film or something that they're
minor shit.
Yeah. I don't know.
There was a story when I think maybe when the first trailer came out or something like that, where Giancarlo Esposito, they revealed that they like rewrote him into it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think those are some kind of
reshoots that they have to like fix.
Sure. So. Yeah, but also like the movie wasn't done, right? And so like they shifted gears and they added a story element, and that's all well and good. And he's Puff Adder for some reason. I don't know, or
Sidewinder or something like that.
Sidewinder, maybe. I don't know.
No,
I like to.
He's not Sidewinder. It's who is it? Oh my God, I can't say him. King Cobra?
No, he's not King Cobra. I think Brian's right. He's like Sidewinder.
Is he?
Like they've given him a name, and I don't think that he'll go by this name in the movie, but like it matches a character from the comics, and it's either Puff Adder or Sidewinder or it's one of the Serpent Society guys, but it's not King Cobra.
Okay.
I saw that, Frank. Who did that cover? Is it Bob Layton?
Yes, Bob Layton actually commented on it.
He posted, yeah, that's where I saw it. Where Bob Layton's like, "Oh, nice of them to homage our cover to Captain America. What's for their poster?"
Oh, sorry.
And I'm like, you know what, Bob? I hope you got paid, but I know that you didn't.
Seth Rollins was rumored to be King Cobra. That's what I was thinking. Sorry.
Before, Seth Rollins,
before he was removed from the film.
I only bought that issue because the Hulk was in it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid,
then the Hulk came all over Captain America.
Easy.
Then came the Hulk. It says it right there.
Yeah, I know, but the way you said it. Come on, man.
Look, man, English is English.
It's a goddamn kids show, you freak. God.
Sorry.
All right.
We went explicit years ago. And we've never really capitalized on it.
That's enough Red Hulk talk. Let's Absolute Superman. I want to hear from you guys because I adored it, but there was some discussion on the board, and that's fine. I just want to hear, like, where are we ordering this in our Absolute books so far?
Oh, third.
Third. Easily the
firm third. But there was some discussion, like, it didn't do it for us, some of us.
Oh, no. I think it was great. I think that Superman, I love the sort of the way they're reimagining Krypton in like a caste system.
Yeah.
And that Superman comes from the lowest caste of manual laborers.
Yeah.
Really kind of putting him in as the illegal alien, really kind of like leaning into it too. I loved it. I love the idea that he's not as strong as he could be because he needs to recharge. I think that's great. His body isn't a limitless source of solar energy. He's got a limit. Peacemaker dudes. Holy crap.
Yeah, I did like the Peacemaker armor. I do think there's something going on there with the powers where he's definitely more like fire and sun centric. Like he's literally like blowing off like solar energy out of him in parts. So I think there's something more, a lot more than just strength.
Yeah, maybe that's like when his like wrists and calves are on fire or whatever. Maybe that's when he's like peak. Maybe peak solar charge, and it's just like spilling out of his body, and then as he fights, it goes down and down and down.
Well, but it's also dangerous because he like says to the computer thing or whatever, he's like, "Turn me off, turn me off." Like this is gonna be bad.
Is it? So maybe that's the what was that device called? The
Helix?
I can't remember the. No. It becomes the sunglasses Ray-Ban Superman.
Oh, the Eradicator.
The Eradicator.
Right. Maybe that's that device from that story.
Maybe he's inside the Eradicator.
I was hoping the suit is called Helix or something, or like that'd be cute.
Helix, the fortress robot.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
It would be cute. I like the recasting. I like the rebranding or reframing, I guess, of the S as the class symbol rather than the family symbol. Like my favorite version is like it's just an S, dudes. Ma came up with it, or Clark and Pa came up with it while Ma sewed the costume. It's just an S. Yeah. It stands for Superman because that's what Lois Lane called him.
Sure.
Yeah.
But this insistence of like this like lionization of like, oh, Marlon Brando wore it on his shirt, so it must mean something. I like it's a take. It's just not the take I prefer.
Is that absolutely where all that came from? There was nothing before that. Like this was Superman the movie established that.
Pre-crisis, Jor-El wore a sun on his shirt.
I was going to say that was the family crest.
He wore a green tunic with a orange sun on.
Yeah, he looked like a Christmas gnome or something. He was like red and green.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He looked literally like Superman, but in green and
exactly. And so it was Superman the movie that was like, oh, this must be the symbol of like their family or whatever. And that was something that writers didn't start to embrace until way later, but New 52 maybe even, because post-crisis Superman, like Pa, Kent, and Clark came up with that S. That's just where it came from.
Yeah. I do think it's clever though, tying it directly. I like that he's a little older. I like they tied it directly to Krypton, and like the suit is from Krypton. It's a thing. It's a thing that you wore to go to work in a mine, right? And it also does a thing for him on Earth, presumably because the sun, powers him up or whatever. But it's really well explained. I honestly, and yes, it's cute that Ma Kent was like, well, I'm gonna stitch together a suit that can't be damaged from your blanket or whatever,
Well,
put an S on it.
That was Golden Age, Silver Age stuff. But yeah. The thing that I appreciated about the post-crisis version of Superman, and maybe we didn't really need it because we're talking about a guy who can fly and catch bullets, so whatever, but is that the reason why Superman never looked dirty or it took a lot for his costume to get damaged is because he's got this sort of aura that similar to what like the Flash has.
When you say aura, you mean like force field?
Not a force field, but like the Flash runs at speeds that would shred a human body to ribbons. Sure. And so he's got this aura that protects him. It's not just even before the advent of the Speed Force, like the Flash, the Flash has this. There's a character. There's something about the Flash's body that protects him from, wind speed, friction, et cetera.
Of course, the Speed Force, whatever.
And so like John Byrne was like, yeah, Superman's got that
super
as well.
Lube. Yes, his super lube.
Yeah, his super lube, right?
Gross.
And that's why like John Byrne was like, oh, he's constantly getting hit with missiles or getting punched by giant robots or whatever, and his cape is always shredded, but his costume looks great. Unless you hit him with something sufficiently powerful, like, I don't know, the Doomsday Fist or whatever. Not only a Doomsday Fist, but you know what I mean. Like if he gets stepped on by Titano,
sure.
It might mess up his shirt a little bit. But but I think reframing the S as a symbol of the class and not specifically the family, I think is neat.
I like that. Do you remember, Joe, as a Superman fan, that the reason why he could pick up houses and buildings was because that aura or that field that was around him would extend itself? That was like
what
stuff, I think.
I remember.
Yes.
I remember.
Oh my God, that's
reading
dumb.
something about that, and that's just like. There's a certain point where you don't have to keep explaining. Like, it's
okay. So that was someone trying to no prize why
justify. Yeah,
got it.
And it's like, you know what? You want to tell me that Superboy does that because he has tactile telekinesis?
Fair, yes.
And when he grabs the corner of a house, the telekinetic field wraps around the entire house so that when he picks it up by one corner, the back corner doesn't crumble off into the sea or whatever.
Like, it never made sense why when Colossus grabs in front of a car, he doesn't just rip it off when he tries to lift it up. The whole car
right.
goes up in the air.
I mean, but like, that's too far. Like, I don't need that, right? I don't need to have that level of scientific justification for especially not my DC comics.
Sure.
So I agree, but that's been running around my head for the last.
So no, I have heard that, and it's silly.
Okay, who else read Absolute Superman? Because we're hogging all the time here. Who else? Does anybody else we want to talk about it? Moving on. Okay, JSA, Brian Domingos. I know you read it.
I can say something real quick about Superman.
Because you were one of the ones that didn't necessarily love it.
I think the direction is interesting. I thought the comic itself was kind of sloppy.
Really?
I thought the story had like a bunch of endings, which was kind of weird.
I'll give you that.
As you're reading it, like you get it. It's like, oh, it ends on like the shocking cliffhanger that Lois is, a peacekeeper or peacemaker, whatever they're called. Great. Then the next page is like the big bad watching everything. Like, okay, we've seen that before. Got like on board. And then it's like 3 pages of, oh, by the way, they are
Ian, I think you're blowing up over here.
Oh, sorry, man.
That's all right.
And then it's like 3 pages of them saying, oh, by the way, they're in a special class and this is why this is the thing. And Clark was little. Like it felt like they were reading it like, we need something more. We need.
It was like the end of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. It's like, okay, we get it.
There's just it didn't have a status. Like at first I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, oh God, okay. Like then I'm thinking, did I miss something? Is there another page? Like it was not a tight, succinct thing where I felt like Batman, you finish Batman and you know what this book is, and you read Wonder Woman and you're like, yep, I know exactly what this book is.
I think that's fair.
Superman, it feels like it's a little jankier. Like it feels like it's barely held together, where the other ones were very specific and very very thought out really tightly. And when you see stuff that looks like it's tacked on at the end, because that part about his family, like you could have put that anywhere in the book. But like it's like a bunch of endings, like that's
why do it as a tease, right? As a stinger.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of stingers. Like, great, we need 3 stingers that don't really add anything to the story. Like,
sure.
I don't know. It felt a little bit like this thing's kind of hanging on. And then artistically, like I read that the artist, it was supposed to be Raphael Albuquerque,
yes,
but he had issues with flooding and stuff in his country, so he had to back out of the book.
I didn't know that.
You get that was announced like last week or when the issue came out. So so maybe it was a time thing, and maybe like it could get to a place where we're 6 issues in and the new artist is like cranking along and we could see it. But I thought the coloring wasn't great. I thought like the other ones were just so specific, and like Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman, and you could see it. And like this art team is cranking, like they've got all the parts and everything is succinct and tight. And same thing with Batman. Like even the goofy stuff is like, they went for it. They're doing what they're doing. And this was like, it was fine. Like I didn't think it was bad, but and I'm sure I'll read more, but it was not the strongest.
It's the weakest of the 3.
I don't disagree. I mean, I think it felt like the safest superhero story of the 3.
Yes, it did.
Right, they played it safe. I liked it, but they played it safe.
The book was announced with Rafa Sandoval. So like as far as the fans were concerned, it was always Rafa Sandoval. Yeah. And then it just came out this week that it was supposed to be Albuquerque.
Okay.
But they're dealing with some natural disasters.
And honestly, that would have totally changed the tone of that book. And I'm not blaming Rafa Sandoval. The guy's amazing. He's an amazing artist. But Rafa Sandoval is like, when I close my eyes and squint, I picture a superhero. It might be drawn by Rafa Sandoval. It's like that.
Right.
You're not generic. Yeah. I don't want to say generic.
Well, but it's because he's drawn everybody in the DC universe. That guy has drawn so many books.
Yeah.
And he's very, very, very good.
But Raphael Albuquerque Superman, that's unique.
Yeah, that would. Yeah. I think that book would have a completely different feel if Albuquerque was there.
So real quick before we move on to JSA, because I would love to talk about JSA with Brian. Frank brought up
with everybody.
Batman.
We want to talk with everybody, but you too, Brian.
Well, yes, with everybody, but specifically with Brian because he is the Ziggurat's #1 resident JSA fan next to myself.
Sure.
That's right, baby.
Absolute Batman #2 came out, and when he drove out of that building in the fucking killdozer, I about died.
Oh my god, that was great.
My favorite Batman.
Loud at that, and I was like, nice.
I was like, wait, when they go down the elevator shaft or whatever, and Alfred is like, "Where's your vehicle? Or you got a vehicle somewhere?" And Batman says, "You're standing in it." That moment that's so over the top silly.
Yeah.
And then fucking
it's not even the most over the top part of it.
It's not, because then Batman lights a series of explosions off that make a building on fire in the shape of his face. And Alfred says Batman AF because he's a millennial for some reason.
This is the most Batman metal Batman. It is more metal than whatever that Batman metal thing was.
It's more metal than death metal. Yes.
I didn't mind. I didn't mind so much the Batman shape thing. And I know that they justified it in the script with what AF stood for in that context. But when when I read the words from Alfred's diary or whatever, Batman AF, I almost threw my iPad across the room.
He's like, this Batman got Riz AF. Skibbity. You know, like,
We do this.
Yeah. And I was like, Matt was making jokes about skibbity toilet Superman. I'm like, that's your skibbity moment right there.
yeah, there you go.
I got it. Yeah, I like I'm reading it and I see all the stuff and it felt very. It reminded me of like a Greg Rucka kind of thing where he's talking about the Ford, like all the military stuff. I'm like jargon. All right, and then I turned the page and like my brain saw it before my eyes did, and I was like, oh no. Like I saw it and it was like, oh, all right. Like, is this great or is this terrible? And it's like,
I mean,
50-50. I don't know.
On balance, it's a great issue. But that specific thing, I was just like, no, Scott, I can't go with you on this journey.
We're gonna see that thing for the rest of our lives. Like that's gonna be the thing that you remember. Is
Batman AF.
Yeah, Batman AF.
And there will be no context with it because those lines of dialogue came on a different page.
No, it's just gonna be it's a meme.
It was a good setup, and he got me. But I was like, oh man, and it's a smarter book than Metal because Metal is terrible, and Greg Capullo's is a weirdo hair metal guy, and it's just very lame. And they were lame together. And this is a better book than that was because they are. I don't know, Nick Dragotta, who I'm not super into, is doing a great job. So,
I love Dragotta personally, but yeah.
So,
all right.
I was gonna say, can we
Frank,
talk about for a second, like that he's playing cards with what looks like the Joker, the Riddler. And Two-Face.
And I love that because they're friends, right?
Yeah.
That was revealed in issue 1. Is that the names that we recognize as Killer Croc, the Penguin, the Riddler, the Joker, Catwoman.
Right.
They grew up with Bruce and they're his best friends. And so none of them are those characters. It's just Waylon and Oswald and Eddie and the Joker. Oh no, the Joker's a different thing.
Oh no,
Harvey's there too, right?
It was Harvey. Yeah, Harvey, not the Joker.
Right. Harvey was the only one.
The nose that was throwing me off.
And I think that's so clever. And I'm kind of dreading the moment where any of them turn into villains because I love them so much in this capacity.
I love how Oswald is the exotic pet stealer or something who gave Waylon crocodiles. Alligators, rather.
He's that guy that has an alligator in his tub. You know, like that's basically we've all met that guy. You know.
They don't have to turn into the villains. They can actually. He's a vigilante. He's straight up vigilante.
Frank, I don't disagree. I think look, this could be total red herring, and they're not going to be the villains. There's going to be.
I hope they don't. Yeah, I hope they don't.
I really like them. It's a breath of fresh air. It's very different, and I like it.
Oh, I love it. I was telling somebody. I was in my local comic shop the other day, and I was telling one of the owners. I said, he's like, well, how do you like these? And I said, I think they're great. I love. I said, I read that book. This the untold history of Marvel Comics. One of my favorite lines in that book is, if you've read comics for more than 10 years, you've seen this cycle over and over and over again. And and I said, this is not the cycle. This is different. This is a brand new take I have never seen before, and I'm really there for it.
Yeah, it's like Ultimate Spider-Man, right? Like the current Ultimate Universe, which I know that we're mixed on as a group.
I caught up on Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm back in. The Ultimates is still very good.
Of course you are.
I'm back in. Yeah,
Ultimates is great. Ultimates is great.
It's very good.
Like I'm just counting the seconds until Harry turns bad, because you can see that it's going to happen.
Yeah,
There are no hints about it. It's just like there's something like you get a vibe, and I just know. But in absolute Batman, I'm like, there's no reason for these characters to ever become.
Well, you can't guess. That's the thing. And I think Snyder, even with Death Metal, which we agree was dumb, you could guess what was coming. You could look at me like, oh, the really evil Joker Batman's going to turn into a really evil Robin Batman. Bleh. Okay. But there's no rules here. There's no rules. And it's fun. It's just, we're having fun. We're watching as it happens and going, did they seriously just fucking do that? Like, when was the last time you read a comic and thought that? As in a good way, not like, did they seriously just fucking
you're
do
absolutely
that?
right. I felt that way with both issues of Absolute Batman.
Yeah.
Where it's just like spikes ejecting out of his shoulders.
Yeah.
He pulls his ears off and uses them. Like, that whole comic book is an exercise in.
bonkers.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah. It's just bonkers.
I love it. I love it so much.
All right, JSA.
All right,
Let's talk
JSA. All right, so JSA. The JSA has finally
Will you let Brian talk, please? Will you let Brian talk about JSA? He wants to talk.
Well, let me set it up, will you?
You don't need to set it up. JSA's back. Brian, what do we think?
Oh my God.
We got a whole podcast.
I already know what I think, so let's hear what you think.
Yeah, Mom, shut up and stop trying to hide my light under a bushel, damn it.
We've got a whole show that's just you and me. That's all I'm saying.
That is true. So just for those of you not necessarily in the know, the JSA is back in the DC universe after many, many, many years away. They were erased by the events of Flashpoint. And then if you want to think Dr. Manhattan and the Watchmen being in the DC universe for anything at all, it's at least the JSA are back because of it.
I'm pretending like, no, that's not why.
So they're back and their history has been restored and all things are well. We had a 12-issue run that wasn't so great. It was mixed at the very least. But this is a traditional JSA comic. They're in the brownstone. It's the old guys. It's the young guys. There's no weirdness with like time traveling alternate universe daughters or the Joker's son or whatever the fuck that guy was. Or it's the JSA, and I really liked it. Brian, as the Ziggurats resident super fan, how did you feel about it?
The other guy, I liked it. I think I thought the Jeff Johns book was interesting, but it really is like one of the most masturbatory things that I've seen in a long time. And in that case, it's like if somebody like he kind of had to like get the kinks out, right? To like fix this book doesn't have the current book doesn't happen in a bubble. Like it is mostly out of that world. Like some of the characters he created are still there, and like so he did a lot of setup and a lot of prepping of that stuff. And I think I would have been annoyed if like Robert Vanzetti did that. Like I think Jeff Johns, for symmetry purposes, had to do that. This current book, I'm not a huge Jeff Lemire guy because I don't know. I feel like I've been burned by a lot of his books, but he touched on a lot of good characters and set up a lot of different things, and I think we're in a good spot for the future. Like there's so much that we have to get into again. They really like when the books really ended before the New 52, like there were like 35 members and all this history and all this.
That last few years of the JSA before Flashpoint were rough.
It was bad.
Yeah, like
it was just bad.
We like the Bill Willingham era was like god awful and all that. Yeah. But the stuff that Johns did for a couple of years of really getting things into like the society part, right? Like there's all these members and all these people and the legacy and all the heroes and he really did so much world building. And now I think we're in an interesting space. We do have there's like a spy, which is a good start. We're going to see the Injustice Society, and I don't know how long this book's going to go for. We're going to see a year of this, 2 years maybe. Like I'm into it. I think the art's interesting. That guy drew that Jay Garrick series.
It was good. It was really good,
which is good. There are moments where it's kind of odd, but I think overall I like his style. And so I'm hoping the two of them can. I think we already know like issue 3 or 4 is a fill-in, but I hope they stay on as long as possible and really kind of like they're going to have to do more work. Like these are characters that need more grounding and really just like get them into the full DCU again. Yeah. So there's a lot of potential.
I think Lemire's time on Black Hammer which I just absolutely loved Black Hammer. I think really demonstrates what he can do with the JSA as well, as far as, yes, they have this huge mythos, but we got to sell it to new people too. It can't just be senior citizen superhero hour for the old guys only. Sorry, kids, and I think Lemire is very capable of connecting the two. And I have a problem with the way it's set up. The old guys are split off right now, and the new guys here. There were some people who are like, "This is just Black Hammer. He's just doing Black Hammer." Joe, you brought it up. No, they've done this stuff before.
Well, yeah, I mean, so right. I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it, but because it's 2 weeks old at this point. But to me, it looks like the JSA, the older members of the JSA, are back in limbo, where they were stuck for several years.
I mean, isn't that where the Tower of Fate lives or something like that? Or
no, the Tower of Fate is in Salem. It's just like out of phase with reality or whatever.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So post-crisis, right?
Excuse me.
The universe is the multiverse is reborn as a single universe. The JSA, they have to quickly come up with a reason why the JSA hasn't been around. Because we're pretending like they've been here the whole time, but we can't because they haven't been. And so we get a story about how the JSA had to disband because of the McCarthy hearings in the 50s. And then we get this story where the JSA voluntarily goes to a dimension that they just call limbo. And they spend decades staving off Ragnarok. And in fact, I think that wasn't the title of issue 1 of this comic book Ragnarok? I could be wrong. I might be confusing it with something else. But yeah, so I think that it looks to me like the JSA are back in limbo. And that's why, like, some of them were young. They weren't as old as they were supposed to be when they came back, because they didn't age when they were in limbo. And so I think that's where they are. And so, yeah, the idea of like this group disappears to an alternate world where things are, whatever. Like the JSA did this decades before Black Hammer.
This comic is called Ragnarok Part 1.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the JSA, I think that Alan and Jay and those guys are in limbo again for reasons yet unknown. And I think it's a good mystery. I think Lemire is obviously a fan.
Yeah.
And that's going to help a lot. Like Brian said, it's not Robert Venditti's JSA. It's or Alex Segura's JSA. It's not like random writer who was available at the time.
Venditti. Venditti's done some good stuff.
I know, but I mean, I'm saying like it's not just a writer that was available to do the job. It's somebody who actually wants the job.
Yes.
And so
who's not Jeff Johns,
who's not Jeff Johns.
Fine with me.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I need to slip out.
I gotta go too. Actually,
we're meeting some friends. So goodbye. Good gang hang. I love you, Matt. Do not Irish goodbye on these guys. Finish the damn show.
See you guys later.